Yep, he said it out loud. A cop, a white veteran male officer, admit he was told to not respond unless a white community called him. He also says he was told to be ready to kill. All right, let me do this. We actually covered this same police division about a year ago because they did this.
Well, first of all, I don't know why you're dumping out like that on us. You can wait for us to get here. Damn, dude, man. Look, listen, your plates don't come back to anything, so you're still doing a traffic stop on you. Where you at, bro? I'll be taking the route. Okay, don't do that to us. Get the f*** out. What? I'm in a police uniform. Yeah, but do we know that before? I don't know who you are. All right, I'm going off. You said Detective Robinson? Yeah. Cool, man. All right, have a good night. Holy Maryland's like being in patrol, dude. Dumbass.
The police department that I'm talking about today was in the headlines for pulling over a detective in their own agency while he was in full uniform, while driving a police car. When he got out of the vehicle to signal to these lower ranking white officers, I'm a detective, full uniform. I'm driving a government vehicle. I'm on the clock. The officers proceeded to ask him, where are you going? Where are you going? Now, a complaint was filed by that detective. There's another complaint today. Let's put it up. Kansas City, Missouri. Police officer has filed a lawsuit alleging, after being told to target minority neighborhoods to make his ticket quota, Edward Williams, who is white and a 21-year veteran of the Kansas City Police Department, said he and other officers were told to, and I quote, target minority citizens, go to minority neighborhoods and write tickets because of the belief that it would be easier to write multiple citations for every stop. Now, white veteran officer files a lawsuit saying this was the systemic practice of that police department. Systemic practice, meaning they, as a culture, were told to ticket Black communities because they believed these communities were easy to target. There's more. The lawsuit also claimed that Williams was constantly subjected to racially inflammatory rhetoric about Black people and told not to wear his department-issued body camera for 2 or 3 hours daily while the camera charged. That's actually a violation of their internal policy. The 44-year-old noted in the lawsuit that former police chief Rick Smith told him and other police officers that they would be demoted to work on an overnight shift if they did not fulfill the ticket quotas of 100 drivers monthly. If you remember, we actually broke a story right here on Indisputable from the city of Atlanta. They were utilizing a very similar service. They were engaged in a quota system, but they called it a point system. And in that point system, you got the most points for locking up a juvenile. I kid you not. You got the maximum amount of points if you arrested a juvenile. You needed to get roughly 8 points per shift. A juvenile was worth 5. One arrest was worth 5 points. If you stopped a potential issue, if you responded and you were able to de-escalate, you know how many points they awarded you that day? 0.25, less than 1. There's more. Officer Williams says that after he reported the discrimination to his supervisors, they failed to document or investigate the accusation. He also claimed he was retaliated against. The lawsuit states that the KCPD violated the Missouri Human Rights Act by subjecting Williams to racist rhetoric minority officers would have certainly reported. Now, what is he saying? You know what he's saying? He's in conversations because he's white. Because he's white, his white colleagues feel very comfortable talking about their biases out loud. Obviously, they were selective as to who they said this in front of. There's more. The lawsuit states that Williams was told by a captain to be ready to kill, and to only respond to calls from white neighborhoods because they pay their taxes. Officer Williams claims in the complaint that the captain told him to approach every car with the mindset to be ready to kill everybody in the car and only respond to calls in white neighborhoods. The lawyer for Williams, Gerald Gray II, said the racism within the department is systematic. I've come to hear these types of stories and over again in regard to, police misconduct, he said, and not just isolated to individual officers, but really kind of it being systemic. Gray added that Williams was hoping the lawsuit would bring about change to the KCPD. He's doing this for the fact that, he wants to police the right way. No other reason except for he's hoping that this will bring about change. Let's go to the current chief. Okay? So you have the former chief. Now you have the current chief, right? Current chief is Stacey Graves. Miss Graves, the chief, released a statement claiming that the department was dedicated to equitable and fair policing. It says, and I quote, "Our department is dedicated to policing that is both equitable and fair in all aspects of our duties. We do not direct enforcement activities based on demographics. We do direct traffic enforcement in high crash locations, as well as citizen traffic complaint locations. I find these allegations very concerning and will immediately ensure the traffic division is reminded to operate and enforce the laws properly." Let me tell you the problem with this statement, Chief. It ignores the reality of the complaint that has been echoed by multiple officers under the jurisdiction of that police department. They have said this police department is racist. Black people have said it, white people have said it, and we have some of it on record. Now, you're saying you don't do that at your police department, and if it is done, you are going to remind the officers to don't do it. That is it. The KCPD, as I mentioned earlier, they have a history of racist behavior. The person you saw in the beginning of this segment, his name is Herb Robinson. Worked as a police officer for 30 years in Kansas City. Says he only feared for his life 2 times. Once when he was shot in the line of duty, and once when he was pulled over by his own police department, the KCPD. Robinson was pulled over by 2 Kansas City police officers that you saw on video just a minute ago, March 11, 2022. He says for no reason other than racial profiling. Robinson was wearing his uniform and said that he feared if he would have reached for his identification. He says he would have been shot. All right. Once again, the warning signs were there. The proclamations were there. People have filed lawsuits for years against members of this police department. All of the evidence is there. Still, no actual change, no real reform, nothing but a statement from a chief who says she will instruct them to do better. This is a big reason why some people do not like the police. All right. Sharon, thoughts here?
Couldn't have said it any better. I would add the word goofball, Dr. Richey. The chief's statement was a goofball. statement. What she should have done is started it with, as of this moment, while we're under the microscope, we will try, and then completed the statement. The details in this are not shocking. They're barbaric, disgusting, but not shocking. Officer Williams had me at his dismantling outing of the quotas, but the rest of it, for this officer of many years to be an ally in this manner and give up all the goods, I think it's delicious. Disgusting, the details, but delicious that there's your witness.
Yep, there he is, and obviously he knows it all. So hopefully this continues as it is. We will bring updates as they develop.